Chosen One. While they've been watching your house closely and tracking your every move, a lawyer has been traveling across the country to bring you the biggest news of your life, and your spiritual mastery is exactly why this divine delivery is finally reaching you now. The universe has been preparing something massive for you, and today we're going to unpack exactly what's been happening behind the scenes while you've been minding your own business and elevating your life. The cosmic legal system has finally activated on your behalf, and there are people watching your every move because they know something big is coming your way. Right now, as you absorb this message, there are guardian forces surrounding you with love and light, protecting you while this energy unfolds. The divine realm is channeling critical information through this transmission, and every word carries the frequency of your highest good. You're receiving this because you're part of a high vibrational collective experiencing this exact spiritual warfare, and your soul recognizes the truth in these revelations. Something that has been deeply unfair in your life is finally being corrected, and cosmic justice is tipping the scales in your favor. There's a mature authority figure, someone with legal power or spiritual influence, who has been traveling toward the truth about your situation. Meanwhile, your primary oppressor, that person who's been working against you, is financially and spiritually bankrupt from fighting against divine will. This person who's been opposing you has depleted their resources trying to block your path. They're living in the poverty they tried to manifest for you, completely unable to move forward or rebuild because they've invested everything in your destruction. The universe doesn't play games when it comes to protecting the chosen ones. Your spiritual discernment has been sharp enough to recognize when people don't resonate with your frequency, and you've naturally distanced yourself from energy vampires without explanation. This protective instinct saved you from deeper entanglement with people who were actively plotting against your success. While you were quietly building your foundation, they were wasting their time and money trying to track your movements and predict your next steps. Behind closed doors, your enemies have been holding emergency meetings in family rooms and conference spaces, desperately trying to figure out how to handle your rising power. These are secret gatherings where co-conspirators bound by guilt and fear discuss damage control strategies. Blood relatives and chosen family members are involved in this conspiracy against you, all sharing dark secrets that keep them trapped in this web of deception. You need to understand the depth of this network. They've been meeting regularly, sometimes weekly, trying to coordinate their attacks against your character and success. These aren't random acts of jealousy. This is organized spiritual warfare designed to keep you from claiming what's rightfully yours. Family members who should have been protecting you were instead participating in schemes to undermine your stability and mental health. There's funeral energy surrounding this situation. They're literally mourning the death of their power over you. Someone in their circle has recently passed away, and this death is bringing unexpected income directly to you. This isn't money from your own family line. This is inheritance or compensation from an unexpected source. Someone who left you something significant in their final arrangements. The person who died was involved in the crimes committed against you, and in their last moments or final legal documents, they decided to leave you something substantial. A legal professional is already traveling to deliver this news to you. They're coming to tell you about property, money or assets that rightfully belong to you, assets that others have been trying to keep hidden. This inheritance situation is causing massive panic in their network because it represents evidence of their guilt. The deceased person's final act was essentially a confession. By leaving you compensation, they acknowledged that you were wronged and deserved restitution. This gesture validates everything you've suspected about their criminal activities. Your disruptive independence has caused a workplace awakening. People are reassessing their entire lives based on how you've overcome battles and maintained your integrity. They're realizing they don't need to stay trapped under false authority, and this is causing massive tension in environments where everyone was supposed to work as a team under corrupt leadership. The transformation happening in your workplace is remarkable. Employees who used to follow orders without question are now challenging decisions and demanding explanations. They're asking for transparency about policies and procedures that never made sense. Your example of independence has awakened their own sense of self-worth and professional dignity. This antagonist has been conducting background surveillance on you, doing reports and searches on someone they don't even know personally. They're completely obsessed with tracking your movements and trying to predict your next steps. The kind of shadow work they specialize in requires operating in darkness, but you've brought so much light to the situation that all their hidden activities are being illuminated for everyone to see. Their surveillance network includes people you trusted, possibly friends or acquaintances, who were feeding information back to your enemies. They've been tracking your social media activity, your spending patterns, your travel plans, and your relationships. This comprehensive monitoring system was designed to give them advance warning of your successes so they could interfere. They're desperately trying to maintain their false authority while being exposed in broad daylight. Someone with foresight has been watching their methods and is now exposing them publicly. Your confidence and success in the public eye are making their corruption obvious to everyone around them. The exposure is happening through multiple channels simultaneously. Witnesses are coming forward with evidence of their harassment and discrimination. Documentation is surfacing that proves their illegal activities. Higher authorities are finally paying attention to complaints that were previously ignored or suppressed. The truth about your capabilities is being revealed after they've spent so long trying to paint you as unstable and untrustworthy. Your recent material success, new job, new home, new car, new something significant, is proof that you've been building something substantial while they thought you were chaotic and directionless. The timing of your success is particularly powerful because it directly contradicts everything they told people about you. They spread rumors that you were financially irresponsible, professionally unreliable, and personally unstable. They convinced people that you were always on the verge of failure, barely surviving from day to day. Your elevation has completely shattered their narrative. The new position you secured came with better benefits, higher pay, and more respect than anything they could access themselves. The home you acquired or improved represents stability and success that makes their living situations look pathetic by comparison. Every material advancement you've made serves as evidence that their character assassination attempts were pure projection. You've been cultivating patience and strategic planning for months or years while appearing unpredictable to those watching you. You mastered your craft and reached harvest season in your manifestations, causing a complete tower moment for everyone who bet against your success. Your foundation is absolutely solid, despite all their attempts to destabilize your progress. Your planning process has been invisible to outside observers because you understand the importance of moving in silence. While they were busy gossiping and scheming, you were quietly building relationships, developing skills, and positioning yourself for opportunities. Your strategic thinking operates on a level they can't access because they're too focused on immediate gratification and short-term victories. The harvest you're experiencing represents years of seeds planted in faith and patience. Every skill you developed during difficult times, every relationship you maintained through challenges, every small investment you made in your future, all of these elements are now converging to create abundance that seems sudden to people who weren't paying attention to your preparation. They've been conducting constant surveillance on your life, trying to track every detail of your daily routine and major decisions. They're sending people to get close to you, using informants and spies to figure out your methods. Your controlled chaos and strategic unpredictability has them completely confused because they can't track your planning process. The surveillance network they established is more extensive than you might realize. They've been monitoring your online activity, tracking your purchases, following your social interactions, and even attempting to infiltrate your spiritual practices. They're desperately trying to understand how you create such consistent success while appearing to operate without traditional support systems. Your success seems impossible to their limited minds because they've been watching you externally while you've been building internally. They witnessed what appeared to be sudden manifestations, but you were actually cultivating patience and executing plans they couldn't see or understand. Your methods transcend their comprehension level entirely. The disconnect between their expectations and your reality is causing them serious psychological distress. They invested so much energy in predicting your failure that your success feels like a personal attack on their intelligence and intuition. They can't accept that they fundamentally misunderstood your character and capabilities. You've been operating like a strategic professional, playing your cards close to your chest and never announcing your moves before they're complete. This ninja mentality protects your energy and prevents interference while you're building something significant. They're frustrated because they can't predict or control your next steps. Your silent strategy has been particularly effective because it forces them to make assumptions based on incomplete information. They've been creating entire narratives about your motivations and plans that have no basis in reality. Their false theories about your next moves have led them to waste resources preparing for scenarios that will never happen. The criminal network opposing you has been operating an identity theft and insurance fraud scheme. They actually went into court systems and told officials that you were dead. The reason they declared you legally deceased was to collect property, money, or benefits that rightfully belonged to you. Multiple people co-signed these false documents to steal what's yours. The scope of this fraud is staggering. They created an entire fake paper trail documenting your supposed death, complete with medical records, witness statements, and official documentation. This wasn't a simple scam. This was an organized criminal enterprise involving people with access to legal and medical systems who were willing to risk their careers and freedom to steal from you. There's a family network involved in this fraud, possibly a sister and father duo, where one of them works in law enforcement or the judicial system. They made promises to co-conspirators that they would be safe executing this scheme, telling everyone they could pull this off without consequences. These false assurances are now falling apart as their criminal activities get exposed. The family member in law enforcement used their position to legitimize false documents and suppress investigations. They convinced others that their insider knowledge would protect the entire network from prosecution. They promised that any questions about your death would be handled internally and quickly dismissed. You were never meant to walk this path alone. The Obsidian Inner Order isn't just another spiritual community. It's a sanctuary for the exiled, the awakened, the ones who've been gaslit for their gifts and abandoned for their truth. Every week we gather live on Zoom, real people with real faces, sharing real stories of transformation. There's a former CFO who embraced their psychic abilities, a seer who broke free from religious oppression, and a healer who survived ritual abuse and found their power. Dozens more join us who understand exactly what you've been through. This is your spiritual family. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you walk through this awakening alone. Never gonna scroll past your suffering like it's just content. Your exile from the ordinary world wasn't punishment. It was preparation. For this, for us, for the family that chooses you back. Join the Obsidian Inner Order. Link in description. The criminals are currently maintaining a public facade of not caring about consequences while internally panicking about their exposure. They're still lying to remaining co-conspirators about how much trouble they're actually in. Some of them are experiencing severe stress-related health problems from the pressure of keeping these secrets while under investigation. The investigation has expanded to include federal agencies because of the interstate nature of their crimes. Financial institutions are cooperating with authorities to trace money movements and identify fraudulent transactions. Every digital communication, every financial transfer, every official document they altered is now evidence in a criminal case that will destroy their lives. What makes this situation even more twisted is their psychological justification for these crimes. They genuinely believed they were fighting for love, justice, or recognition that was unfairly denied to them. In their minds, you were an obstacle to their happiness or success, so eliminating you legally was a reasonable solution to their problems. The sister figure in this network is particularly dangerous because she's operating from a place of complete desperation. She might be pregnant and trying to hide the identity of the baby's father, or she might be facing financial ruin that makes criminal activity seem like her only option. Her fear of disappointing the father figure is driving her to take increasingly reckless actions. This father figure could be a biological parent, step-parent, or mentor who has some kind of authority in law enforcement or the judicial system. Their position gives them access to sensitive information and the ability to influence investigations, which they've been using to protect their criminal network. They're now realizing that their authority isn't powerful enough to make this situation disappear. The universe provided active protection when your enemies tried to escalate their harassment. Someone was literally paid to come to your location and cause you harm, but divine intervention immediately activated. The person they hired got pulled over by police during a routine traffic stop and was arrested on outstanding warrants from multiple states. The timing of this intervention was absolutely perfect. Your enemies had spent weeks planning this attack, coordinating schedules and payment arrangements to ensure their hired criminal would reach you at the most vulnerable moment. They thought they had covered every possible angle and eliminated every potential obstacle. This hired criminal already had extensive legal problems, and the universe arranged for law enforcement to discover everything they were running from. The instant karma was immediate and absolute. They said yes to harming you and immediately got hit with consequences for all their other crimes. The divine realm will not allow anyone to approach you with malicious intent. The criminal they hired wasn't some random person. This was someone with a history of violence and intimidation who specialized in making problems disappear for wealthy clients. They had successfully completed similar contracts in the past without getting caught, which is why your enemies felt confident that this approach would work. The police officer who conducted the traffic stop had no idea they were preventing an assassination attempt. They were simply doing routine law enforcement work when they discovered the hired criminal's outstanding warrants from multiple jurisdictions. The spiritual significance of this intervention was completely hidden from human perspective, but divine forces orchestrated every detail. Your ancestors and spiritual guardians have been monitoring all their communications. That phone between the overseas doctor and family members about you and this investigation was completely surveilled by spiritual intelligence. They thought their conversations were private, but divine forces have been listening to every word. The phone call revealed the panic spreading through their criminal network. The overseas doctor was demanding answers about why their carefully planned attack had failed so spectacularly. Family members were arguing about whether to attempt another approach or abandon their schemes entirely. The timing of their failed attack explains why this energy feels so heavy and urgent right now. They're scrambling to figure out what went wrong with their plan, calling each other to discuss this divine intervention that prevented their hired criminal from reaching you. Every person they try to send gets stopped by forces beyond their control. Their desperation is reaching dangerous levels because they've invested so much money and criminal exposure in schemes that keep failing. They're starting to realize that opposing you means fighting against universal law itself, but their pride and fear of prosecution prevent them from backing down. The criminal they hired is now in federal custody, facing charges in multiple states. During questioning, they're revealing information about their clients and the contracts they accepted. This unexpected cooperation is providing law enforcement with evidence about your enemy's criminal activities that goes far beyond the failed attack. Every attempt they make to harm you creates more evidence of their criminal conspiracy. The digital communications arranging the attack, the financial transfers paying for the criminal's services, the surveillance records tracking your movements, all of this activity is now documented and available to investigators. Their network is falling apart because members are starting to realize that accepting contracts against you is spiritual and legal suicide. Word is spreading through criminal communities that jobs involving you are cursed and guaranteed to result in immediate arrest or worse consequences. A legal professional who works in courthouse systems has been experiencing a major awakening about your situation. This divine masculine energy was previously confused or deceived about property ownership, your character, or legal matters concerning you. The veil of deception has finally been lifted, and they're no longer under illusions about who you really are. This legal professional has been working within the system that your enemies tried to manipulate with their false death certificates and fraudulent documentation. They've had access to all the paperwork and have been slowly piecing together the truth about what really happened. Their position gives them the authority to investigate discrepancies and demand explanations for suspicious documents. This person was being manipulated to stay away from you through abuse, lies, or intentional confusion about your circumstances. Someone was feeding them false information to prevent them from ever traveling toward you or investigating your situation. They've since recognized the manipulation and are now following their intuition about the truth. Love spells and deception have been broken after operating for an extended period. The lies that kept this legal authority away from you have been exposed, and they're preparing to travel toward you with important information about property, inheritance, or legal matters that belong to you. They're no longer confused about who has rightful ownership of whatever this asset is. The property or inheritance they're coming to discuss isn't something small or insignificant. This is substantial wealth or valuable assets that have been hidden from you for years, possibly decades. The criminal network's entire operation was designed to prevent you from ever learning about or claiming these resources. Their journey toward you isn't just physical travel, it's a spiritual pilgrimage toward truth and justice. They understand that delivering this information to you is part of their own karmic healing and spiritual evolution. They're prepared to face whatever consequences come from exposing the criminal network that tried to manipulate them. The documentation they're bringing includes evidence of the fraud schemes, proof of your rightful ownership, and legal instruments that will restore what was stolen from you. They've been working behind the scenes to gather ironclad evidence that will hold up in any court and cannot be disputed or dismissed. Your manifestation method operates from the inside out, rather than trying to force external circumstances to match internal desires. You manifest with complete conviction and certainty, walking through life with a confidence that intimidates people operating from doubt and fear. Your unwavering belief in your path creates manifestations that seem impossible to limited minds. You practice true release mastery, letting go of things that don't serve you without holding resentment or spite. You understand that rejection is actually protection, redirecting you away from situations that would limit your highest potential. When something leaves your life, you celebrate because you know something more aligned is coming to take its place. Your daily gratitude practice and lesson integration separate you from those who manifest through victim mentality and pity-seeking. You find value in every experience, including losses, because you understand they're stepping stones to bigger victories. You don't try to resuscitate dead situations or relationships. You allow natural endings to create space for better beginnings. Your conviction requirements mean you can't maintain certainty while surrounded by people who doubt your path. You've cleared your circle of energy vampires and skeptics who would interfere with your manifestation process. You understand that believing in your goals completely is literally impossible when you're constantly defending them to people who don't understand your vision. You create abundance independently because your security comes from internal spiritual connection rather than external validation or support. While others manifest through emotional manipulation and dependence, you build wealth and stability through self-sufficiency and divine alignment. The false authority that your oppressors built their power on has completely collapsed. They've lost all credibility because your success proves everything they said about you was a lie. The spell they tried to cast on your progress has reversed and trapped them in their own spiritual prison. They're frozen in the same energy they tried to use against you, stuck in poverty, limitation, and blocked progress. The freezer spell they attempted to put you in has become their permanent residence. While you're moving forward with courage and conviction, they're trapped in cold, stagnant energy that prevents any forward movement. Their obsession with watching and controlling you has become a prison of false focus. They think they're being strategic by monitoring your every move, but they're actually depleting their own energy and resources. They've confused watching you succeed with actually creating success themselves. The spell reversal is complete and permanent. While they remain stuck in limitation and fear, you continue ascending to higher levels of spiritual authority and material abundance. They cannot break free from the consequences they created for themselves. Every step you take leads directly to success because you're walking a divinely ordained path. Your perseverance and hard work are generating visible results that validate your faith and strategic planning. You can continue with complete confidence knowing that your trajectory is guided by forces beyond human interference. You've reached the healing waters phase of your journey, where past wounds are being cleansed to prepare you for your elevated future. You've released all negative energy from previous battles and no longer feel any need to explain yourself to people who can't understand your methods or motivations. Your strategic silence and emotional detachment from their opinions creates powerful resistance against their manipulation attempts. Your calmness while they're in chaos demonstrates the vast difference between your spiritual maturity and their desperation. You manifest at an accelerated pace because you have clear plans and focused intentions. Your fast-paced manifestations happen because you operate with clarity and focus, while they're scattered and reactive. You have concrete plans and unwavering faith while they're stuck in surveillance mode, watching your success instead of creating their own. You're completely untouchable because you're part of an elite spiritual collective, experiencing this exact awakening. Your ability to recognize true evil and manipulation makes you dangerous to people operating through deception and false light. The universe will not allow anyone to harm you because your protection comes directly from the highest spiritual authorities. Every person who accepts contracts to interfere with your path receives immediate karmic consequences. The divine realm treats attacks against you as personal offenses, responding with swift and permanent justice. Your enemies are discovering that opposing you means opposing universal law itself. The community that tried to destroy you is realizing they chose the wrong target. You've healed from every attack and elevated beyond their reach, while they remain trapped in the consequences of their own choices. They thought removing you would solve their problems, but your presence was never the source of their spiritual poverty. Your mastery of release without resentment sets you apart from people who claim to forgive while harboring hidden anger and revenge fantasies. You actually let people go completely, allowing them to face the natural consequences of their choices without adding your own emotional energy to their karma. Your journey proves that chosen ones cannot be permanently harmed by people operating from lower spiritual frequencies. Every attack against you becomes evidence of your protection and power. Every attempt to limit you reveals another area where you're destined to expand beyond normal human limitations. The truth always reveals itself, and everyone who doubted your character or capabilities must now witness your vindication. Your victory isn't just personal, it's cosmic proof that divine justice eventually manifests in material reality for those who maintain faith through spiritual warfare. You are the chosen one they cannot touch, and your victory is absolutely guaranteed. The lawyer is traveling, the inheritance is confirmed, and your enemy's schemes have crumbled completely. Your authentic power has been revealed, and nothing can stop what's coming toward you now. This is your moment of complete spiritual victory. The universe has spoken, justice is served, and your elevated future begins now.